Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we are going to review the Altra Experience Flow 2. So this is one of our top rated walking shoes, and these shoes are very unique. They're not one of those typical massive outsole shoes with a nice thick foam you see. So as always, I bought these with my own money, no sponsorships, no brand deals. I tested these for over 60 miles, and we'll give you a very clear picture of who this shoe is for and who it's not. All right, let's talk about comfort first. So when I put these on, I wasn't expecting those max cushion levels of comfort. This was definitely a more streamlined, obviously this is a more streamlined, lower profile shoe. So I was assuming it'd feel super firm and maybe even a little harsh on my feet. Instead, what I got was a nice middle ground. My foot sank slightly into the insole, but it didn't overly compress that insole. There was enough plushness to take out the sting of concrete while walking on it, but it never felt super unstable or wobbly like those max cushion, massive foam shoes tend to do. The cushioning was definitely a sweet spot, supportive, plush, but still controlled at the end of the day. It has a 28mm forefoot stack here. Gives you enough foam to stand or walk for long periods without feeling like your foot's getting pounded, but again, not overly cushy. So I did a full 16-hour shift in these, a lot of standing, walking, standing on hard floors. By the end of the day, my legs were as fresh as they were and less fatigued compared to other shoes that I've tested at the same job. So a few comfort details with this one. It's got a nice padded tongue that a lot of shoes tend to miss out on, and it really feels like a little pillow on top of your foot. I didn't have any lace pipe with these, and the heel has just the amount of right padding around it. One huge win here is the Altra's foot shape fit. What that is the toe box is extremely wide. It allows your toes to splay out, give you a nice stable base to walk on, and there's no pinching up front. To be transparent, out of the box, the midfoot did feel a little tight. At the first 5 miles, it was noticeable, but once the shoe started to break in, the compression really faded and it felt a lot more dialed in. So overall for comfort, it scored a 9 out of 10. So now let's talk about support. This is where it really separates itself from a lot of the big, softer options out there. So we measured the drop at 4mm, which is perfect for a natural stride. Those massive heel to toe drops you see in those other shoes, that begins to break down some of your heel striking mechanics and doesn't really help out with the intrinsic muscle control. If you've been stuck with those shoes that have an 8 to 12mm drop, this is going to feel a lot more grounded and natural to you. One of the other standout features is the forefoot flexion. Look how flexible this shoe is. Instead of the shoe being a stiff plank, there's a lot of pop and bounce to this shoe. That really helps during the toe off phase. It feels like the shoe is working with you, not against you. Underneath, you can see the outsole is slightly wider than the upper, so it gives you a nice stable platform. You want that nice wide base to build upon. Gives you better stability and support. So I tend to overpronate when I walk. In this shoe, the ankle support feels like a buttress. It really resists that overpronation instead of collapsing in on itself. And the heel counter is firm enough to lock you in, but not so rigid where it feels like you're in a ski boot or anything crazy like that. There's no aggressive internal posting, no plastic inserts in this shoe. It's got good geometry, good foam, and the well-designed upper keeps you nice and supported. So we gave that a support score of a 9 out of 10. Traction-wise, the Experience Flow 2 is definitely upgraded from the original model. There's less random grooves as you can see, and more intentional rubber placement throughout the shoe. The firmer rubber along the medial and lateral sides of the shoe actually helps where you push off when you're gonna have most of the wear on your shoe. Again, I tested this one walking on asphalt, concrete, slate, gravel, a few light trails, basically walking my dog throughout the neighborhood, and a few times I was on wet pavement after the rain, and honestly it held up really well against all those different types of terrain. What really impressed me is it didn't slip a lot on wet asphalt. That's where a lot of the shoes with those smoother outsoles tend to skate around. And what I like is the rubber comes up and over the toe, which helps that shoe when it's in maximum flexion while you're going uphill or against any kind of uphill terrain. It helps with that toe off phase. So traction, we rated this an 8.5 out of 10. So we weighed the shoe in at 9 ounces, which is definitely one of the more lightweight shoes out there. On paper, that's super light, but even on your foot, it feels lighter than the actual number. The upper is more breathable and streamlined, which saves weight without making the shoe feel super flimsy. Altra was really smart how they used their rubber on here to save the weight. There's more rubber in the high impact zones, especially in the forefoot, in the toe here, and then in the heel. And then the midfoot is a little bit more trimmed down to save weight. That combination makes the shoe feel a lot more nimble and unbloated. So for context, one of the more maximalist shoes out there, the Brooks Ghost Max 3, weighed in at 15 ounces, which is about 66% heavier than this shoe. So overall, extremely lightweight, one of the more lightweight shoes we have tested to date, which scored a 9 out of 10. I know everything has been a 9 out of 10 so far. So if you want something that has real cushioning but still feels fast and light, this is a huge selling point for this shoe. So let's talk about fit and sizing. I went with a men's size 10.5 regular, and overall the fit was very good. The Altra models, I will say, tend to run a little bit longer than most shoe averages. I noticed the same thing when I tested out some of the other Altra shoes. I will say there's a little bit more length in the forefoot of this shoe, but it wasn't anything where I'd have to size down a half size on this, so I'd recommend sticking to your regular shoe size. And especially for you wide-footed folks out there, the foot shape fit really helps with that toe box and allows your foot to really be nice and relaxed within the shoe. So overall fit score gave it an 8 out of 10. So let's talk about value with this shoe. So this shoe is definitely for somebody who's tired of those over-cushioned fluff shoes, but you still want real comfort. And you don't want those massive outsoles like I was talking about. At the end of the day, this is really about stability, and you want your shoe to last a long time. A lot of those high-stack models tend to, not always, they tend to flatten out over time because you're compressing that foam way too much. With this one, it's got the minimalist stack height and still has the comfort within it. And that brings us to our final score of the Altra Experience Flow 2. We rated it at 8.8 out of 10. So if you like to purchase these with the lowest possible prices, as well as potential discounts, check our links down below in the description. Help support the channel for us to do unsponsored, non-biased reviews with objective testing scores. Also, don't forget to check out our website, mountaineerjourney.com, where you can see all of our comparisons, best of guides, and individual reviews just like this one. And please like and subscribe to the channel. Again, this is all about doing unsponsored, non-biased reviews. We buy all these products with our own money, so you guys get no BS and the real results with these shoes. We'll catch you next time. Thank you.